Hi, I am Kia Diane Lauren Serrano, an MS Environmental Science student at School of Environmental Science and Management of University of the Philippines Los Baños, and I will discuss a little bit about cultural eutrophication of lakes. Eutrophication is a natural process that happens in lakes as it ages through geological time. It is characterized by an enrichment of nutrients, in a process in which lakes receive nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen, as well as sediment from the surrounding watershed and become more fertile and shallow. The additional nutrients are food for algae and fish, so the more eutrophic a lake is, the more living organisms it sustains. However, anthropogenic or human factors can dramatically increase the concentration of plant nutrients in water bodies, a phenomenon known as cultural eutrophication. Cultural eutrophication of lakes happens from the continuous entry of nutrients, that triggers structural changes in the aquatic ecosystem. Cultural eutrophication is the Earth's most widespread water quality problem. It causes harmful algal blooms, fish kills and many related problems both in freshwaters and in coastal seas that are adjacent to areas with large human population. Cultural eutrophication is caused by human land use, including agriculture and residential or industrial developments. Correspondingly, most scientists agree that it is largely caused by increasing inputs of phosphorus and nitrogen, which are abundant in human sewage, in the excrement of livestock and in synthetic fertilizers applied to agricultural land. Furthermore, major sources of eutrophication can be categorized by point source discharges and non-point loadings of nutrients. Point sources are direct points of entry for nutrients into the water, such as drainage pipes from industrial facilities that drains directly to a water body that results in the release of a high quantity of nutrients which stimulates the disproportionate growth of algae. This can be observed in many developing countries, where wastewater is discharged directly into water bodies. On the other hand, non-point source loading is a lot difficult to trace since it can come in many diffuse sources. An example of non-point source is the use of fertilizers by farmers to increase their productivity. Nitrogen and phosphorus in the form of phosphates and nitrates are limiting factors for plants to grow. If this is not assimilated in the soil due to high levels of concentration, the nutrients are carried into the rivers that flows through the lakes when precipitation in the form of rain happens. Now, because algae have similar photosynthetic abilities to plants, with the entry of excess nutrients into the aquatic ecosystem, they would begin to grow in an uncontrolled manner, also creating the event called algal bloom. This algal bloom forms a layer or mat at the surface of the water that blocks sunlight from reaching the bottom part of the lake, depriving other plants that are present in the bottom part of the lake and eventually would die and decompose. What happens next is that the algae are destined to reach its end of life cycle and decompose. Microorganisms, such as bacteria, take up oxygen in the environment to facilitate decomposition of organic matter. This creates an anoxic environment that suffocates aquatic organisms, which we usually relate to fish kills, since the increase in the amount of decomposers would greatly affect the decrease in the level of dissolved oxygen available in the bottom part of the lake. Also, microorganisms, decomposing the organic substance in the absence of oxygen, releases toxic compounds, such as ammonia and hydrogen sulfide, which can make their way into the food chain and contribute to various negative health impacts such as poisoning, due to the time it takes for eutrophication to happen. As a result of anthropogenic activities, it has become an important environmental issue as of today because of its negative consequences. The degradation of water quality that has implications on drinking sources and fisheries is one of the most important environmental problems that we share today. Cultural eutrophication disrupts normal food web and ecosystem processes. The increased rate of photosynthesis associated with eutrophication depletes dissolved inorganic carbon and raises pH levels that can blind organisms that rely on perception of dissolved chemical cues for their survival. In addition, the reduction of oxygen concentration by the decomposition process of organic matters in the lake causes death of organisms, hence causing the decrease in species diversity. Also, release of toxic compounds can also cause death in humans and animals even at the least concentration when ingested in drinking water, such as nitrate poisoning. Methemoglobinemia is the condition that occurs most often in babies under 6 months of age. When this young, babies have more sensitive and underdeveloped gastrointestinal tracts, which are more likely to convert nitrate into nitrite. As nitrite circulates in the body, it produces methemoglobin. While methemoglobin is oxygen-rich, it doesn't release that oxygen into the bloodstream. This gives babies with the condition their bluish hue. Eutrophication also jeopardizes the resource value of lakes as recreation, fishing and aesthetic enjoyment diminish. As such, the impact of eutrophication on recreation and tourism is probably the most sensitive area for the public. Lakes and reservoirs deteriorate through excessive addition of plant nutrients, organic matter and silt, which combine to produce increased algae and rooted plant biomass, reduced water clarity, and usually decreased water volumes. In this condition, water bodies lose much of their attractiveness for recreation, as well as their usefulness and safety as industrial and domestic water supplies. Today, the main control mechanism of eutrophication is based on prevention of the nutrients entry to water bodies, such as policies and sanctions regulating the discharge of any substances that would degrade water quality. Philippines, in supporting the country's efforts to pursue Sustainable Development Goal 6 on clean water and sanitation, has made its developments in particular with the formulation of the Philippine Sanitation Roadmap in 2010. Hence, in line with the attainment of its Millennium Development Goal commitments, headed by the Department of Health, developed its framework and strategic goals in connection with ongoing pipeline projects and policy recommendations on the improvement of sanitation in the country, addressed at a national level. Furthermore, the country joined the Sustainable Sanitation in East Asia Program, SUSE, on July 23, 2007, linking sanitation interventions with environmental objectives such as the improvement of water resources in a water quality management area. As of the 21st of June 2016, there are 31 officially designated WQMAs, including the areas within the jurisdiction of LLDA, which was designated as one management area by virtue of the Clean Water Act. For this strategy to work, it involves intersectoral collaboration of scientists, policymakers and active community participation to safeguard water quality. The latest management strategy in the controlling eutrophication in lakes prompts organisms to favor grazing on phytoplankton, where it eliminates fish species that recycle nutrients and favor those that assist algal management. This latter method is new to the lake management community, which has relied mostly on nutrient loading restrictions to control eutrophication. However, due to its effectiveness, lower cost and absence of machinery or toxic chemicals, it has become a point of interest. In conclusion, eutrophication is a natural occurring process in lakes as it ages, while cultural eutrophication is human-induced eutrophication that happens rapidly and has negative consequences. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. Dios Mabelos Sendo.